Gold's up this Friday as markets digest the latest FOMC minutes. But let's shift focus and see what's new on the mining front. We've got Bloomberg's head of metals and mining research, Ken Hoffman, joining us today. Ken, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Danielle.
Well, Ken, I'm really looking forward to getting your thoughts on all the activity we've been seeing in the mining space. For one, we've had these activist investors like Carl Icahn with Freeport. What's your take?
Well, I think what you've seen is over the last decade, a lot of mining companies made hay by doing a lot of acquisitions. It's been a very inquisitive space, a lot of acquisitions. And really over the last 3 years, we've been in this tremendous bear market. The value of these stocks have been absolutely destroyed. And so these activists are starting to say, well, wait a minute. I think it makes a lot of sense to break these things up, run them differently, a lot of excesses, take them out of the system. And guys like Icahn are coming in and saying, break up these companies. We want seats on the board, which they got yesterday, and we're really taking over. It's not only happening in the mining space. You've seen this in the chemical space, where Dow and DuPont have gone out there and they've broken off divisions. You're seeing it with Alcoa, which is pretty much being forced to break up into two different divisions, Timken Steel. It's happening all over the place, and that's what happens when you see these equities at pretty much all-time lows on a valuation basis.
Well, Ken, as you noted, these activists really have a big say in how the mining companies are now operating. Is this the nudge that the sector needs to move higher?
Well, I think it's the beginning of really making some sanity. I mean, you've seen Glencore today cut their zinc production. I think you're starting to see more and more companies act responsibly, understanding that China has some major issues, that the demand there is flat or even declining, and they're responding by cutting. And I think what these activists will really do is sort of go to the managements who have been constantly saying, don't worry, China's going to be fine year after year after year. And they're saying, you need to act responsibly. There needs to be a supply response. And as soon as you see a supply response, that's when this sector can start bottoming out, because supply and demand can start to match up.
Well, speaking about big deals, on the PGM front, we saw the Sibanye deal with plans to buy Aquarius Platinum for $294 million. What do you think that says about the appetite for the platinum group metals?
Well, platinum group metals has been really interesting. Besides what's going on in the diesel engine, whether any of our diesels, and I own a diesel car, actually meets emissions, that's going to be a really interesting thing going forward. Will we need more platinum and palladium in these emissions to really help control them and get them to the correct level? Or is it going away? Is diesel going away? I think that's a big thing. Sibanye, they just believe we're great operators. We can buy these assets and take huge cost out of the system. It's a very interesting thing. Can they do it? Can they work with the unions in South Africa? But that's their game plan, and they're really going for it. They've been a very acquisitive group.
All right, Ken. Well, to wrap, let's get your thoughts on gold and the volatility we've seen in the market. Do you expect to see this type of price action, choppy trading until year end?
Well, it's been very interesting there as well. The Chinese, look at their numbers. They continue to set all-time record gold demand. So they're the bid in the marketplace. And then on a day-to-day basis, it all depends on the dollar. If the dollar is moving up or down, you've seen a downward move in the market recently, and that's really helped gold. And gold, again, China is driving the bus on gold, and China really seems to love gold at this point in time.
Ken, thanks so much for your thoughts.
Anytime, Danielle.
And thanks for watching this edition of Kitco News. We'll see you next week. Happy weekend.